Alright, hello everybody. I am back again today. I am I am bringing these videos back. I don't know exactly if I'm going to go through a specific verse or anything, but and I don't know if this is going to be daily or weekly. I'm going to try to figure that out. But for today, I'm going to be reading Acts 23, 1 through 11. Then Paul, looking intently at the council, Sanhedrin, Jewish high court, said, "Kinsmen, I have lived my life before God with a perfect and good conscience until this very day." At this, the high priest Ananias ordered those who stood beside him to strike Paul on the mouth. Then Paul said to him, "God is going to strike you, you whitewashed wall. Do you actually sit to judge me according to the law, and yet in the violation of the law order me to be struck?" But those who stood near Paul said, "Are you insulting the high priest of God?" And Paul said, "I was not aware, brother, that he was a high priest. For it is written, 'You shall not speak evil of a ruler of your people.'" But recognizing that one group were Sadducees and the other were Pharisees, Paul began affirming loudly in the council chamber, "Kinsmen, I am a Pharisee, a son of Pharisees. I am on trial for the hope and resurrection of the dead." When he said this, an angry dispute erupted between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the whole crowded assembly was divided into two factions. For the Sadducees say that there is no such thing as a resurrection, nor an angel, nor a spirit. But the Pharisees speak out and freely and acknowledge their belief in them all. Then a great uproar occurred, and some of the scribes of the Pharisees party stood up and began to argue heatedly in Paul's favor, saying, "We find nothing wrong with this man. Suppose a spirit or angel has really spoken to him." And as the dissension became even greater, the commander, fearing that Paul would be torn to pieces by them, ordered the troops to go down and forcibly take him from them and bring him to the barracks. On the following night, the Lord stood near Paul and said, "Be brave, for as you have solemnly and safely witnessed about me at Jerusalem, so you must also testify at Rome." So, here's what I have written here, what I felt like God was saying through this one. And that is, there is a big decision coming to the church with the word, or with the sword of truth. Just as Paul is persecuted, so will those who proclaim the truth of the gospel and of spiritual realities will be persecuted. We have to remember that the early church was founded not only on Jesus, not only his truth and the commandments, but the Holy Spirit. And when we follow the Holy Spirit, that is the Spirit of truth. Paul is persecuted here for the hope and resurrection of the dead in the Sanhedrin. And it tells us here how the Pharisees believed that. They believed in different spirits. And we're not afraid to talk about angels and spirits. And one thing here we see a lot is it has been so long since we have seen these things manifested, and at that time it had been so long since the Jewish people had seen miracles of God or things manifested other than Jesus. But that when the door opens, because many are spiritually blind, they will reject it. And we obviously we saw a big fight a big discussion between the Pharisees and Sadducees on that. Stand fast in my truth and word, and you shall find these things. So one of the things I see coming to the church is there is going to be a revival and revelation on who exactly we are in Jesus Christ and exactly what He has granted us to do and how the Holy Spirit should work. And just like some of the prophets from, or I wouldn't call them prophets, but leaders from earlier in very recently, like David Wilkerson, some of the things that we will be learning and beginning to understand are going to be very unpopular. With David Wilkerson, some of the things he talked about back then were very unpopular with many people. But yet we find today that they were very much true. And this revelation that we are coming upon, it is the revelation of not only who Jesus himself is, but how we are to act and live as followers of Christ, and how we are how God's kingdom works. And I see the revelation of some things very much being a split in, obviously, the church, like the Sadducees and Pharisees were. But not only that, but because of those things, as we see here, Paul himself was persecuted for this. And so we also will be. And one thing to keep in mind here is that these upcoming revelations of how we are to be living as followers of Christ and how the church was meant to work, it encompasses all things. And so I'm going to try to keep these videos short. So today, this one's really short, 7 minutes, but most people don't like watching longer videos. So that's what I got for you today. And I will be back next time, just as I can find the way to turn this off.